by the MMCOE in association with CSI Students Chapter MMCOE. At MMCOE, we believe in experimenting and organizing innovative events, bringing about ideas that include the latest trends, technologies, and developments that intrigue all the participants. We have a great year planned in front of us, and we anticipate your participation in all the upcoming events. With that agenda in mind, the chapter has organized record breaking events, webinars, workshops, and quizzes, and aims to keep the student mind invested with intriguing events in the future too. Now, I would like to request Dr. Vijay Bhatkar Sir, President, IIC MMCOE, to share his thoughts upon the events and throw some light upon the event plan ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Trupti, for nice introduction of this event. Now, first of all, we at MMCOE students may not be aware about the IIC. Okay, so first program we are organized on 9th February, and this is the second program. So actually, what is IIC? So that I will just give you a brief idea. So first of all, welcome to Vinay, Phadnis, and Anuj, Mokashi, the young entrepreneurs, and I can see the director name written on the leaflet. Okay, so definitely this will be a good session for our students. So like IIC, Marathwada Mitra Mandal College of Engineering has established Institutions Innovation Council 4.0 as it was started by AICT from 2018. So we have, we can say, uh, started from 2021. Now that is the fourth part, we can say, fourth year. As per the norms of Innovation Cell, Ministry of Education, Government of India. The objective of IIC is to systematically foster the culture of innovation among all higher education institutes. The major focus on to create innovation ecosystem, startup supporting mechanism in HEIs, higher educations, prepare institute for Attain ranking, pre-incubation idea generation, patenting and IPR, organizing hackathons, and many such events. So definitely this session will be useful for our students, and many events in quarter 3, quarter 4 will organize for students, and definitely you can go for patents, incubation, and other things, so that we will organize such events for you people. Thank you. Over to you, Trupti.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insights and motivation.
Now, without any further ado, we'll begin with our seminar. So, what is an entrepreneur? A person who starts a business and is willing to risk loss in order to succeed. But it is such more than just that, isn't it? It's about passion. It is about recognizing opportunities and generating innovative, creative ideas. It's about laser focus. It's about letting go of fear, especially when it comes to failure. But don't take our word for it. We have with us Mr. Vinay Phadnis and Mr. Anuj Mokashi, directors of a very successful startup, Atomic Loops, which I'm very happy to say started from our very own college under the MCIII, an entrepreneurship cell for invention, innovation, and incubation. Today, Atomic Loops provides end-to-end smart solutions for companies of all sizes using cutting-edge technologies such as machine learning, blockchain, quantum computing, decentralized finances, etc. They are particularly esteemed for their unparalleled and dedicated service. Now, I would like to hand the session to our speakers of the day to share their journey, their experiences, and their views on the topic for today. We hope that all the participants get motivated and take full advantage of this session. Sir?
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for the nice introduction. So I'll just share my screen and then we can get started.
Sure.
Just let me know once the screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the screen is visible.
Okay, perfect then. So without any delay, let's start. So yeah, okay. So first of all, hello everyone, and good afternoon for and taking a good time for to joining this session. So yes, thank you. So basically, speaking about myself, hi everyone, I am Anuj Mokashi. So currently, I'm working as co-founder and CIO at Atomic Loops. Basically, so speaking about myself, so previously I worked and developed different products, worked with different startups based out of India. So basically, some of those were revolving around building different chatbots, then building e-commerce products, then verification systems, etc., related to technology stuff. Then later on, I led a tech team in a project which was regarding fighting fake news. Basically, during the peak of COVID first wave, right? So there were all WhatsApp and all news circulating regarding the fake news and all kind of that such stuff regarding the COVID. So we had built a product where we had a live team who used to verify the news and then send a report to that particular customer, that user, as well as to the print that press office through which that news came. So we had tie up with different press offices based in Bangalore also. Then later on, along with another team, we had built a COVID self-check web app. So basically, during the start of COVID, people used to think like if they got a fever, cough, then they thought that that was COVID only. So we had built that self-check app which used to diagnose and at least guide on a primitive stage to the user regarding that whether it's COVID or not. So that also got recognized by government of Karnataka later on. And along with these different projects, me and Vinay, so Vinay Phadnis, so we both were doing different freelancing projects which we used to get through our different clients through different connects. And then we sat together discussing other stuff, and then we like finally, after brainstorming, after thinking about different stuff, we decided to start Atomic Loops as an organization. And so there is a long story on that, so that we can discuss it later on. But to start with, and for intro, I guess this is it. So yes, so Vinay, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, thank you everyone for organizing this event, and thanks Anuj for this introduction. So, to get started, who are we? So, I met Anuj in 11th standard. We were at this IIT coaching class, and that's when we met. We started working on various projects. So, to introduce me, I had some association with Google early on. From there, I worked on a US based company to build a telemedicine platform and a 360 communication platform. So after that was done, I started publishing some courses on Udemy on various topics like IPFS or decentralization, then machine learning, artificial intelligence, TensorFlow JS, etc. And from there, eventually one thing led to another, and slowly we landed where we are. So just as a point, where are we heading as of this moment? Then we want to make sure that Atomic Loops is the leading company when it comes to blockchain and AI solutions in India, because we primarily believe that the landscape, the entire tech landscape is going to change in a huge margin, and we want Atomic Loops to be the forefront when this happens. And finally, from this talk, I've seen a lot of these, especially typical motivation talks, and I don't want this one to be a similar just motivational talks where you hear a story and then ultimately it's of no use. But we want to make this as interactive as possible. So feel free to ask questions. Feel free to, we can have a conversation part after the PowerPoint is done. So let's make this very interactive. Let's not keep this a boring motivational talk, because we are also currently in the last year of engineering and we are also going through the same phase. So let's make sure we all help each other out and actually get some value out of this talk. Yeah. So Anuj, I think so you can take the problem.
Yes, yes, sure. So basically, when we sat to get together to like just think about what we were doing during that COVID hard time, so we thought that just like us, there were many other different students whose skill sets were not properly valued. So to like, we won't take the name, but to just give an example, there are many companies who are giving internships to do digital marketing for computer science students. So we personally thought that if these are the students with proper skill sets, if they are guided properly, then definitely they can into that particular domain of their own interest. They can explore more stuff, build different products, come together and work under one organization, so that at the end there can be a proper what we can say, a point to add on their resume during their engineering years only, so that after 4 years they have a pretty strong portfolio using which they can approach different companies or continue with us. So with that kind of similar thinking, we came together and thought of starting. Then the another point was that, so internships, right? So basically, if you are like utilizing interns time, you are taking some efforts of the student and making thousands of money, then company, so personally we think that company should pay something to that individual. It may be some gift cards or some other kind of compensation, but money compensation is the like basic stuff which a company can do for their interns. And then, so these were the few problems which we faced before starting Atomic Loops. And like in our friend circle also, there were many people who were facing similar problems. There are different sorts of difficulties, questions on how to proceed, what to learn, and etc. stuff. So yes, so these were the basic problems. And then, so we thought of building an organization which would fulfill all these problems or these bad situations in which all the students were. And yes, so like from that we first like started Atomic Loops as an organization. Then the basic goal of this was to do the freelancing, like take up some projects, build a strong team of across all the domains. It may be front end, back end, ML, AI, everything, and then deliver that particular project to that client. So basically, like this is part of what we can say the aim or mission of Atomic Loops, or the goal of the company. But apart from this, at the start only, we had a main focus that the culture at Atomic Loops should be as good as working at Google, Apple, and all of these high like the all recognized startups based out of California, the Silicon Valley. So we had this aim of bringing that culture into our startup in our organization, because at the end we all know that doing typical IT jobs won't help everyone, because nowadays we also see that doing Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job, nobody is that much of happy. So we had this goal to make sure that the culture is up to mark, and for to implementing the same, we sat together and we brainstormed and we came up with few ideas. Like first was like all the interns, right? So the people call them as intern, but if you say anybody an intern of that company, they feel undervalued, or they feel like they are not that integral part of the system. So as the name suggests, right, Atomic Loop, so we thought that this organization can be considered as an orbit only, and the intern who is working with us, we'll call them an electron. So basically an electron who is main integral part of the whole Atomic Loop's orbit. So this was the first thing we implemented in our culture, and till today we are following the same year, like complete flat level organization. Everybody is electron, so that they feel that they are a main part of this huge organization. Then second part was, so basically what we thought that we are taking up different projects, we are getting revenue. So if they are putting their hard work, they should get at least they deserve the compensation. So we thought that once we get the amount, we used to distribute the small percentage of it. We used to distribute among all the people who are working on that particular project, so that so for any of the project they can get the comparatively or the appropriate amount in that particular month. So there used to be a nice competition between all the electrons, that whoever takes up multiple projects, big projects, they used to get comparatively more compensation, but the basic amount was fixed, so that there wasn't any issue between electrons and other stuff also. Then we also decided to take daily doubt session. So the doubt session was not that much important, but what the aim of behind that doubt session was, we thought that the communication between the team, between us and the team, between all the electrons should be proper, and that's why we started this daily doubt session. And daily at the night, right, when I think so around 9:30, we used to take this doubt session, and if anybody had any doubt, they used to discuss. We used to solve this together. And so it was the main goal was to increase the communication. The outstation was secondary goal. The primary goal was to increase the communication, the bonding between all the electrons. And similarly, we also used to take all hands meetings. So basically, all electrons used to connect on a single meeting. Everybody used to discuss their task, their previous project, the upcoming task we used to allocate, and then in this way, used to have a long discussion among all the electrons once a week. So this was the kind of culture which we thought that we can implement, and we started implementing at Atomic Loops. Then, so like, yeah, Vinay.
Yeah, so see, just imagine, okay, we just started this company. It's like, think of it like a very small version of TCS. And instead of these full-time employees working at TCS, we have our electrons. And Anuj just told what these electrons are. They're basically interns. So now there comes a lot of problems where number one is these electrons or these interns, like everyone is just graduating out of college or in college, and none of them have a very good experience of working in software development team. Like for example, how you should maintain private keys when accessing AWS server, how to use GitHub properly, how to use the best coding practices, how to write variable names, simple stuff, how to communicate within the team, how to write emails, how to properly structure your communication, how to properly present yourself. A lot of these points were missing. So if you look at it from an end client's perspective, we charge them a normal amount, which TCS would charge. But then in the team, we have electrons who are working on it, of course, along with us. So then a lot of these problems come where we're not dealing with experienced people. But at the same time, what we have noticed is like a lot of people told us this is never going to work. Because if you take freshers out and if you give them very important responsibilities, they're never going to do it for you, or interns. But somehow we had seen this spark of talent in our friends, in everyone of this age, in this circle, where everyone has this ability to work for extended periods of time. Everyone can do a lot of research. Like I've seen my friends who are good at machine learning, who are good at blockchain, who are good at designing, who are good at front end. It's just that they're not commercializing that skill properly. So we have seen that sometimes, or most of the times, electrons even perform better than full-time employees because they have this passion, they have this agility to actually work on very important problems, to solve those problems, to deliver solutions, and actually be a part of this entire software development process. And ultimately, the whole aim behind Atomic Loops was not earning money, because ultimately after getting the money, we had initially planned on distributing it back to the electrons. But the main goal was that everyone who is working as an electron will get a very good idea of how an actual project is handled in the real world. And then they can, whenever they go to a different company to work on a full-time profile, then they are very much accustomed to this new culture where how do you work on Scrum boards, how do you work on Trello boards, how do you maintain GitHub issues, how do you maintain a proper CI/CD pipeline. Very simple things, not very difficult to learn. It will hardly take you half an hour to 1 hour, but these things make you a very professional developer. And that is what we want to do by giving these electrons the relevant opportunities, by enabling them to work on these cutting edge projects. We are trying our best to make sure that they are a very good part of this IT ecosystem, because ultimately this is the future of our nation. So coming back to the point where inexperience was a big problem, then just starting out as a fresh startup, like just to add some dramatic element to it, I had gone to Anuj's place to stay over, and at 12 o'clock we were just walking in his society, and that's when we thought, okay, let's build something which can help a lot of people. Like why only do projects ourselves and deliver it? Instead we can build something which can help so many people around. So just starting as a new company, we did not have good financial backing. Like both of us, we didn't even have enough money to cover, like, let's say 1 or 2 months of the expense in Atomic Loops. So that is why we were facing a lot of budget problems. Then the very important part is no track record. So a new company, if you are a client, if you are trusting someone to build a mobile app for you in record time, let's say in 1 month, why would you trust someone who has not built a single mobile app before? So that was the problem which we were battling. So we had no track record before of building websites, building apps, building ML products, building blockchain systems. And finally, we didn't have any catalyst. Like we didn't have any godfather who was sitting on top of the business, guiding us through. We didn't have a whole lot of connections in the markets outside India. We didn't know how to approach people. We didn't know how to set these first conversations. So no business actually goes without having its own fair set of problems. So immediately after we started Atomic Loops on freelancer.com, we used to bid on projects. So when we bid on 100 projects, when we used to send 100 proposals, like typing each one, and then out of those 100, only 10 or 5 people used to respond. Out of those 5, only one project used to convert. So we had seen rejection so many times that after overcoming this part, rejections didn't mean a lot to us. And finally, to mainly overcome this problem, I think so there was another catalyst, which was the previous projects completed by me and Anuj. So I had a profile on Udemy. Anuj had worked on various projects with the government of Maharashtra, government of Karnataka, government of India. So lot of those things added credibility. So whenever anyone thinks of starting a startup, please think of it from an external person's point of view. Why should someone trust in this startup? Are the founders credible enough? If you add all of your founders' profile together, does it make something which a third person can trust? So by having a good digital presence before starting Atomic Loops, I think helped us overcome these first set of problems. Yeah. So, okay. So now, as we were overcoming these problems on Freelancer, we found a new customer. So he had this idea of building a voice-based system for doctors. So in Karnataka, if you go to any doctor's place and he prescribes you some medicine, he has to maintain a full written record of whatever that interaction was. Like patient came to me with a complaint of hand pain. I prescribed this cream. Then after a few weeks, this was the update. Now the patient is fine, mobility restored, and all of that. So usually doctors write this down, and this is a big time consuming part. So this client of ours had an idea where he wanted to build a voice based system for doctors. And building this voice based system, he wanted us to take up the initial task, Atomic Loops, where he wanted us to build this machine learning model of converting voice to text. And once that was done, we also built a UI on top of it. Anuj, you can move to the next one. Okay, so yeah, previous one, Anuj. Yeah, so basically, once the product was kind of ready, then it was time to reach out to investors. So we were very careful as to when should we reach out to investors, because whenever you reach out to investors, you lose control on the company, because the investors come on board, they have their own set of ways to work, they have their own advices, they have their own ways to deploy their money, and accordingly you lose a lot of freedom in operating the company. So that is why in this case, as it was a product based company, we decided let's reach out to a few investors, and we reached out to almost every venture capital firm in India. And it's not difficult at all. We didn't know anyone in the loop before, but what we did is on LinkedIn, we found out people who are connected to these venture capital funds. Then we sent them connection requests, and then we started cold messaging everyone. Like, this is our idea. This is the product. It is working very good. So if you are interested, please give it a shot. Please listen to our pitch. And if you like it, please invest in us. And let me tell you, we faced over 30 rejections. Like for every investor, it was setting up the same system, turning on the camera, presenting the entire product, the same script we used to repeat for presenting the product. And every investor would say, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in early stage companies. I don't want to invest in companies that are pre-revenue, like who has not generated any revenue till now. So it was a lot of rejection, but slowly, each one of these investors, they gave us a very good insight in the market. Some of them told that Indian hospitals are the worst kind of customers to deal with. they'll never pay for this software. So then we tweaked a little bit. We started approaching doctors. Then they told that maintaining anything on premise in hospitals is very difficult. So we switched to clouds. So that's when we went to AWS. And as we were getting rejection, every rejection kind of changed the product and changed the pitch a little bit. Some of them didn't like how the way we structured our team together. Some of them had suggestions with the location of the team. Like most of them didn't like that me and Anuj were in Pune and the third co-founder was in Bangalore. So a lot of them rejected on this ground also. But finally, what we saw is ultimately the best investor is a customer. So in Bangalore, we reached out to a hospital, and in that hospital, we showed this idea. We showed them, please try it out. Please try dictating in the Shubhu system. And finally, they found it so interesting that the head of that hospital itself wrote us a big check, which could span us for the next 2 years. So that is how we kind of got investment for the very first time in our lives. Anuj, do you want to continue?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So speaking about Shubhu, so at Shubhu, we had two different, like the two main products. One of them was a voice to text transcription system. So that was the main product of the company. So basically, like for making records to type out the patient history and all of that stuff, doctor need to type all the thing into their system. So especially in Karnataka, as Vinay mentioned, so they have that rule that all the records needs to be digitally saved on their systems, at least for the next 1 or 2 years. So typing all of that, the doctor doesn't have that much of time to type all of them, then correct, then save all of that stuff. So what the main goal of Shubhu was to replace the keyboard with the microphone. So basically, we built different sorts of like sub products under the voice transcription system. One of that was the discharge summary portal, where the doctor can go to the portal. They can just select the patient and start dictating, and automatically the content, right, like appropriate content used to go in that particular text box or else that particular section of the discharge summary. Then once the doctor has dictated, the nurse or the assistant doctor can review it, and then immediately they can give the discharge. Because as compared to physical, as we all know, for discharge at least a day goes in that, just the documenting all the records and also. We had this goal that using mic, the doctor used to control the system very easily and very user in a very user friendly way. So that was one product. Another was we had built a plugin also, so that which can be installed on any browser on the internet, so that, yeah, like apart from making these records, apart from discharge summaries, doctors can use the system, the voice to text system, to dictate any of the text box present on that particular screen. So we had these like sub products in voice to text domain, and another product was this of appointment manager. So basically, this revolved around the appointment management system for patient and doctor. And along with this, we had built a chatbot also, so that a patient used to directly communicate with that chatbot to check with the doctor's schedule, whether he is available, which specialty, any alternative options for that doctor. And if the doctor is available, the patient used to directly book the appointment from that app. And at the same time, the like another phase of the chatbot was to connect with the doctor. So as soon as the patient like books any appointment, doctor used to get a notification that the patient is XYZ has booked the appointment. So in this way, we used to build this appointment management and a patient and doctor communication platform. And so there were challenges also. So like the basic challenge was to meet these doctors for doing the implementation. So for implementation of this product, then to understand the requirements from the doctors, the assistant doctor, the management of that hospital, then to get feedback. So once the installation was done, we had to take the feedback and then like build over refine the product so that the doctors could use it more efficiently and in a more user friendly way. So we had to travel to that individual hospital location every time. So Vinay, I guess in 2021, so around 10-12 days every month we were outside of Pune only, I guess, like just traveling
Correct.
to all the different cities. So yes, so yeah, maybe Vinay, you can explain the like different challenges and the
Yeah.
road ahead.
Yeah. So I see. So this is the story of Shubhu, like from Atomic Loops, how we actually found a customer who wanted to start up a new company, how we found investors who wrote us a good check, and from there, how did things shape up slowly. So over that 1 year, I believe we visited around 9 to 10 different states, and every month we were traveling. And the only thing which you were doing is go to a new state, go to 3 4 hospitals, meet the doctors, that's it. And meeting these doctors actually gave us very good insights on how the customer is viewing this product. And during the initial fundraising phase, a lot of investors had told us, don't pursue this, hospitals are not a very good customer, throw this product away. Like, this was the literal language, throw this product away. But then what we said is, no, this guy doesn't understand. We have an amazing idea in our head. These guys are idiots. The fundraising guys are idiots. But then slowly what happened is, what they said turned out to be true. Like, no hospital actually wanted to pay for this product, and it was a very difficult way to sell this product. And eventually, after 1 year of efforts, like almost everyone was working full time in this. Like, consider around 10 12 people working full time on the idea, and their time for 1 year being spent into building a product, and no one is buying this product now. So that was our very first taste of failure, public failure, where we got investment, we had the chance to build a product, but then we failed at it. So this thing taught us a lot of good practices that you should never do in a company. When an investor advises you something, throw this product away, think of the logic behind it. Don't call him an idiot, because ultimately we still had to throw the product away just 1 year later, with a lot of money, time, energy, efforts, everything wasted. So it was a very good way and a very big slap on our face, and something like a big realization where we saw that failure is actually dangerous, and it is actually difficult to see something that you have built. It's just like a small baby where you try to nurture it every single day. Every day you're spending 10 12 hours on building this startup, and after a point you're just seeing it fail on its face, like fall straight on a concrete road. Nothing is happening now. So then what happened is, now we had to pivot, because we still had money in the company's bank account, so we have to pivot. So that is when we changed the domain completely, because now it was evident and clear that hospitals are not going to pay. So if we still sit on these doctors, and it's very difficult, like when you go to a doctor, they think they are the doctor is the best profession out there. Like, even if you're a good software developer, you reach out to these doctors, they are like, hey, why don't you understand, I'm busy right now, get out, come back later. So this is the way in which they treat you, that they don't respect any other profession except doctors, except healthcare. So actually that's where we pivoted to lawyers. And just like doctors, even these lawyers have to maintain a certain set of records. Like, instead of a discharge summary in a hospital, you have a legal document when you come to a lawyer. They also have different sections, they also type a lot. So that is why now, in parallel, we are focusing on building this product for lawyers. And the medical product is still there. We are now planning to partner with Microsoft, leverage their vendor network, and sell the product to a few hospitals. But now the big bet in Shubhu is to build a product for the legal domain. So that is why it's very important, when you fall on your face, it's very important to analyze what exactly led to it, and then course correct immediately, because that's the best advantage of a startup. It's okay to fail. It's perfectly fine to fail. But once you fail, see what led you to these chain of events, and then rectify it immediately, so that as long as you pivot in time, it is absolutely fine. Like, just an example, Nokia, which is a technology company, like a hardware company, and a very good one, they were initially making sewage system equipment. So, the gutter doors, right? So Nokia used to make those things. From there, they pivoted into technology because it was not a good market. So it's very good if you find your failure early on. It's good to fail, but just make sure you get on track. Yeah. Okay, so ultimately now after being through such a roller coaster, it was crazy one. It was a crazy one entire year going through all of that. Ultimately, seeing everything fail, and you're absolutely helpless. You can't do anything. So that's when we decided let's go back to our roots. So and in the meantime, Atomic Loops was also expanding. It took a good turn. So then we decided to incorporate Atomic Loops. Let's register that as a company, and that is when we also took an office space in the MCIII section in college. But the main goal was that now we need to diversify, because what if this legal product also fails again? Then we have nothing left, because both of us have not applied for placements. We are betting only on Atomic Loops and all our business ventures. So now we had to diversify. So that is why now we are also focusing a very big part of our day on building Atomic Loops. And now, like considering we are in 2022, it is a very good domain for the tech ecosystem, because now blockchain is picking up speed very well. The government is adopting blockchain. Then AI products are also seeing a lot of mainstream adoption. Like a lot of young customers are adopting AI products. They want to use AI toolkits. They want to use AI softwares, and never before students are also exploring these new technologies. And if you look at it, previously it was very difficult to find a TensorFlow developer in college, but now it is kind of a very common occurrence, because everyone learns TensorFlow who wants to get into ML. Everyone learns PyTorch. Then people know about blockchain, which was also a very big surprise for us. But now things have aligned very well for us to again take this up. So that is why we believe that now we can solve a bigger problem of getting all of these technologies back to India. So if you look at the previous time where Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, all of these tech companies started, they started in this IT bubble for India. And after they had their fair share of limelight, then a lot of these IT companies also started outsourcing back to the US. So India was kind of losing on its market share in IT. So that's why our long-term goal is to just again bring that glory back to India. We still want Pune, if not Bangalore, to be the outsourcing capital of the world, let's say in blockchain. And that's the idea. And ultimately, what we believed is we need to lead by our values and principle. If we believe that we keep the student in the forefront of whatever efforts we are doing, it should be that way. We should not be revenue focused. We should be as helpful as we can to these students, to colleges, to anyone who is hardworking and who wants to learn and work on new stuff. So that's kind of how the V2 or version 2 of Atomic Loops came into being. So I think so Anuj can talk more on it.
Yes, yes, sure. So speaking about atomic loops at this stage, so it's pretty fascinating for us also to the stage where we are. So to just give an idea, like currently we have around 22 to 23 electrons across all the domains. Like we have ML, blockchain, front end, back end, everything sorted teams. Like we have all the electrons who are passionate and who are willing to work into these particular domains only, so that we focus that all the electrons who are working with us, right, they should have the same passion, same energy towards the company. And so we have around 22 to 23 company. Then we have 6 full-time people working with us in our core team. So I'll get back to core team later. Then speaking about clients, so we have delivered till now more than 65 to 70 projects, I guess, right, Vinay? Around 70 projects.
That's
So
correct.
in this all these domains, and some 10-15 projects are currently being we are working on 10-15 other projects. Then like speaking about the client location, then all these locations are of course from all the different countries like US, Australia, Singapore, then some European countries also, then Norway, Sweden, all of these kind of countries, right, where the people and the technology is really being valued. So we are trying to reach out to all these people where we can, through which we can get some new projects. We can explore new domains and just like we can do something for our society, for our community. So this is the main goal of Atomic Loops as of now, to work as a consulting company, but as well, like along with this, to build a strong team, strong bonding, and to build a like tremendous, or what we can say, excellent culture at Atomic Loops. And so the one last point is regarding our core team. So actually we both say that we are co-founders, but in V2 we have a strong core team of around 6 people total, 6 to 7 people, so whom we can trust like 1000%, because like they are as good as co-founders of the company. Then so actually there's a good statement actually. Our investor always says that this person works 30 hours in a day. So just like copying its statement, our core team, right, they work 30 hours a day to build this company, to increase the bonding between all the electrons. And the specialty of our core team is that all are inclining towards the same goal, same passion through like for the company, without expecting like too much in return. So yeah, we are really blessed to have a strong core team, because to build any startup, to build any company, not only 1 or 2 people are enough, but the people across all the main domains who have expertise on that particular domain are 101% required to scale up the product, to scale up the company. To so basically, if we have different heads, right, we can think of some new ideas, how to encourage people, how to discuss with clients. So yes, so we have a strong team, and
So it's
yes,
just
so I
like
think
pillars of a very strong building. The higher you want to build, like the larger you want to become, you need to make sure that your pillars are very strong. So right now you're seeing both of us talk, but if you look at anyone from our core team, everyone is equally competitive. Everyone is working equally hard, and that is the main reason how you can build something which is beyond just you as an individual. So the whole idea of building a company is to build something which you can't do alone. You want to make sure that you are getting people together and building something to a new level. So that's the main point where we are blessed for having a top-notch core team. I'll say the best core team in the world, and I value each and everyone's contribution, and not just the core team, also our electron pool. Like from here only in the participants, I can see a lot of people who have worked with us: Ishan, Pranav, Trupti. I think so. Savni is here. So kudos to all of you guys. Also, it's not the both of us who make Atomic Loops into what it is, but it is the contribution of everyone together. And when everything thing gets added on in the correct direction, then only you can be sure of building a new company. And in terms of what we want to achieve, then our goal is very clear. In the next 3 years, we want to be a unicorn in India, and in the 4th year, we want to go public. And so that everyone can be a part of this revolution, they can buy Atomic Loops from the stock exchange, and that is how big we see this becoming over the next 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
yes. So I think like this is it from our side. So personally, we both of us had planned this as a interactive session only, because like to be honest, the title of this webinar is our entrepreneur journey. So basically, this is the start of our journey. So like there are many other people who have finished this journey, but this is the start. So like we are more of inclining towards having an interactive session where we can share our thoughts, we can discuss, and just guide other people also who are willing to take up this path, to do something different from normal and general career paths. So yes, I guess like we can start the interaction, like questions section. So if you have any questions, you can put in the chat box, right, Trupti? Or like, yeah, you
Yes,
can
yes.
take it up.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. Now we'll move on to the Q&A session. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box, or you could unmute mic and you can speak directly.
Okay, just prepare your questions. Anuj and Vinay, really you have given very good story, we can say. Although it may be, we can say, starting, but you know that if the good starting is there, always we can say half work is done, we can say, right? So definitely,
Right.
I request all the students to ask many questions because these are our students and they are in campus, we can say. Okay, that is a very good thing. You can meet them at any time, but still, as a program, you ask many questions and you are, we can say, welcome to these questions. Okay, go ahead. Okay, Vinay, I will ask one question. Let us see. It is very difficult for to manage the college activity and the study, we can say. So, how you manage? Just guide us about your managing the examinations and study and your interest, we can say.
Right, right. So, by God's grace, I'll say COVID worked out a lot in our favor. Because COVID was there, we could get enough time to work on this business, first of all. And secondly, everyone from the college is also very cooperative. Like in all other factors, like whenever we mention that we need help in terms of giving out job descriptions, when we want to hire new people, or when we want something to be incorporated in the college, we have a cloud lab at college, then we have a GPU for machine learning at college. So I believe the college has cooperated to a very good extent. And then the final help was the COVID pandemic.
Very good. That means always there is an opportunity along with the destruction. Okay, and we can say really they have found the opportunity rather than distress. Okay, you ask any questions to students because these are almost at your age and whatever your ideas will be there. So that may be in line with those students' ideas. So it is, you can ask questions.
So there's a question in the chat box.
Acha, so one thing we are only confused when you call sir. Is it actually for Vijay sir or is it for us? So don't call us sir. Please call us Vinay or Anuj. Okay.
Okay,
And
sure.
also for full disclosure, Trupti was also an electron at Atomic Loops, and there we never call each other
Yeah.
sir, ma'am, nothing like that. So just call us Vinay.
Yes, sure. So yes, Vinay, there's a question in the chat box.
Perfect. So how did you attain the financial aid or financial support that the startup needed? So very good question. So actually, you need to decide if every startup actually needs money to start with or not. So in the case of Atomic Loops, as we were just working on projects and the projects paid for itself after some time. So in Atomic Loops, we didn't really need to get financial aid because it was a low capital business. But if you look at Shubu, where we were actually building a product, and only once the product was built, we could sell it. And to build the product, you need to hire good machine learning engineers, good cloud architects. For that, it takes money. So in that case, you need to get investment. Now, the question of how do you raise investment, there are a lot of tutorials online where you can create a proper pitch deck as per the format that they want. Like they always try to see, the whole point is any investor will fund a business which can run without that investor. So as long as you can tell the investor your money is useless, they'll give you a better offer. So that's why it's very important to go out on LinkedIn, connect with relevant people, make sure that you are connecting with that particular fund, that particular investor. Make sure you reach out to his friends, like stalk him completely, go all in on that investor, look at his profile, look at all of the likes that he has done, follow all of the people that he has liked, message them also, tell them to talk to him for you. So if you want to talk to one person, which is a high net worth individual, like a millionaire, make sure you talk to 10 of his friends and ask them to force that person to talk to you. And if you try this for 100 times, then at least 2 or 3 meetings will line up. So there is no shortcut to doing this. You have to grind in it. Yeah, then I think so. The next question is, did you put any initial money? Can we begin with no investment? How? So again, this all depends on what you want to do. If you want to start an airline, of course, you can't begin with no money because you need to buy aircrafts. You need to put in millions of dollars. But if you're starting a software company, that is the biggest advantage of building a software company where you can write code once and sell it 100 times. So in this way, I would say, of course, this is the best time to start a software company without any investment. And but the only thing is you need to make sure that your thoughts are aligned. Like all of your peers who are working on this startup, they don't have any financial expectations for 5 6 months. Once all of that is sorted, just make sure you build a very small product, try to sell it in the market, get some money, use it to improve the product. So you have to be very careful when you start with no investment. Then Anuj can take the next one. I think another favorite question.
Right. So, where do you start building your idea of business from? So, basically, it's not like you plan to start a business and then you think over an idea. It's like the transition, right? Where you think of different stuff, you start thinking about each and every minute thing from a business perspective. So, for example, we can take this mug. So, basically, a mug, right? So anybody can sell mug, but if you do some customization, if you print something on it, then you can start your own business. Or else, so in this way, like you can continuously, there should be in the back of the mind that you want to start something, you want to build something. And so initially, to basically to differentiate, you need to have a clear idea that whether do you want to start a tech company, manufacturing company, whatever. So I'm guessing that there are other department students also. So basically, you can just initially like be a firm on a particular thing, that whether you want to build a startup company, a software company, or a hardware manufacturing company. And then from that point of view, you can start thinking along those lines. There are many different ways from which you can get some ideas. Then if you get any idea, you like before starting any business, you should analyze the idea. You should see whether this idea already exists in the market, what's the exact customer requirement, then is there any specific market, or is it specific to that particular region only. So for example, something related to only Pune, that won't be any scalable business idea. You need to think of something which you can expand the boundaries to India, then all over the country, then all over the world. So in this way, it's like we can't specifically tell you, right, that you can start thinking and then you will get an idea. It's like the phase from which you come up, and then you come up with a single idea which you would like you can individually only analyze whether this idea can grow or not. You can discuss between your co-founders, your family, your friends, whether this idea can be yeah, converted into a business, and then you can start on it if you get proper answers to it. Yes.
Okay, then I think so. What are the different ways to promote your business? Yeah, Anuj, you can do this.
Yes. So basically, to promote your business, so there are like different ways. So like it depends on the business idea, on your product. So basically, if so there are two types, so B2B and B2C. So basically, what is this? So B2B means business to business, and second one is business to customer. So for example, B2C we can consider as Ola, Uber, then Paytm, all of these businesses which directly interact and cater to direct client, whereas B2B is hospital chains, then L&T kind of company which does the construction. They directly do the business with the company or then not with the individual. So basically, you need to figure out the product, and then to promote it, there are multiple ways. So especially after COVID, there are many different platforms on internet also to to showcase your product, like Product Hunt. You can advertise your company, your product on LinkedIn. Take some like paid tools to do the social marketing to increase the public outreach of your product of your company. Then in India, especially if you have like you have built your own company, then you can get startup recognition. So we also have our own startup certificate, startup recognition for Shubhu as well as for Atomic Group. So basically, you can participate in different programs, different awards which are organized by this startup ecosystem, so that your business gets some proper, what we can say, the business gets to know the other side of the market, where people connect with you, they reach out to you for different requirements, etc. Yes, so maybe Vinay, you can take up the patent question.
I'll talk about the patent. So yeah, can you please throw some light upon the patent that you own? So yeah, good question. So I heard before also talks about patents and building intellectual property. So it is very good, and the patent that we have is a granted patent by the Indian Patent Office. So effectively, you can, and the patent is on building an AI-based voice-to-text system, which is domain as well as accent localized. So if you look at Gujju people, they speak English in a little bit different way. If you look at Kannada people, Tamil people, they speak English in a little bit different way. We Marathi people speak English in a different way. Then in North, they'll speak it in a different way. So everyone has a different style of speaking English only. So what we do is we train the system on their accents, like specifically that state-wise accent. And this is what we have a patent on. So now, in terms of getting this patent, it is very easy to write a patent draft. It is just like a Word document formatted in a particular way, and then you submit it to the patent office. And you can get a patent on literally anything. Like you can have this charging cable, you can make it red color and apply for a patent, which is a very valid patent, even if you get it. Or you can take a pen, you can stick an apple on top of it, you can still call that a patent. So it's not difficult to run behind ideas to get patents. The ultimate goal is how enforceable is this patent. So right now, if anyone else comes in the voice to text domain and if they start doing the same thing, we can take this patent, go to court and sue these people, sue these companies who are doing voice to text in India. So in that way, the patent actually helps us to protect our position as a startup. So now you need to ask this question if you want to apply for a patent. First of all, how serious are you with the patent? If you are just doing it for a publicity stunt, like, okay, I have applied for a patent, you want that high pedestal, it's fine. Then don't worry too much about it. But if you want that patent to be granted, then make sure you reach out to a patent attorney, make sure you have a good IP team with you, and make sure that you have their own floors and floors of legal team who are battling with you to make sure that you don't get the patent. Okay, so the next question is, what are the challenges or struggles involved to establish your startup in the industry? So first, if we talk about the government stuff, then it's all about registering a private limited company. And then finally, it's about getting the paperwork sorted, getting a bank account, and then registering yourself as a new entity. But I'll say, so I've been a big fan of Shark Tank India, and as the Daman Gupta says, in order to start a business correctly, you need to do MBA, and MBA is Mal Bechna Aata Hai. So as long as you can sell stuff, as long as you can sell software, that should be enough. So don't think of anything else. As long as you can sell something that you have, generate revenue from it, work on that product, sell it more. As long as you can do this, you are sorted. Don't even think of all of these legal challenges, regulatory challenges. You can just pay someone 3,000-4,000 rupees, they'll do all of it for you. And then in terms of how do we establish ourselves, then there is no shortcut. It's ultimately the co-founder's reputation which is on the line. And slowly you build that reputation. Like as you deliver more and more projects, initially you might have to do it for free. Initially you might have to give some samples of your product. And slowly you build that reputation in the system. Then what all skills do you expect from your electrons during the initial phase of the startup? So good question. So basically, if you ask anyone who has worked with us before, then it is like the work which we do here is at breakneck speed. Everyone is working full duration every day except weekends. But the only skill that we want is sincerity and ability to learn new things very quickly, because ultimately that's all that matters. Anything can be learned in a given amount of time, but that's the only skill which is important. And ultimately we are building a culture of freedom where everyone is free to work on the project whenever they want, in whatever time frames they want to imagine. So along with that, it's very important to have good people. So We don't like people who are just here for doing time pass. Of course, we have our separate days to only do time pass in Atomic Loops, but normally it's not really that welcome, because as long as you love technology, that's all we need. I think so. Anuj, you can take the next one.
Yes, yes. So how difficult was it to get your first business deal? So good question actually, Trupti. So to speak about Atomic Loops, it was comparatively easy because we were doing freelancing and we just had a small task to get the project, to understand the requirement, to develop it, and then to deliver it. So this was the first business deal. But speaking about Shubu, the healthcare startup, right? So to be honest, till now we haven't closed any like proper business deal on that startup. So it completely depends on the product, on that company, on how you pitch the product, how useful the product is. So that if the product is way useful, then there is no need of discussing about business deal. The client itself come to you, and then like immediately the deal happens. But if the product is not that good, or the market is not ready for that particular project, that product, then there are some challenges regarding the closing the business deal. And so Atomic Loops also, like it's not that easy to get the project, deliver it. But so in the initial phase also, we were like continuously bidding and communicating with different, so bidding as in on freelancer you need to post your proposal for that particular project, and that is called bidding. So just clearing, because it had different meaning also. So after doing all of these, then we used to get one or two responses from the client. Then out of them only hardly 5 to 6% used to convert into actual project. And even after getting the project, we weren't sure whether we can get the final payment on time or not, even if we deliver on time. So yeah, it depends upon the business, but it's not that difficult to close the first business deal. Yes. So next question: how much social life got affected in process of establishing a successful business, friends, family, etc.? uh, Good question, actually, Akanksha. So, to speaking about this, so like a simple sentence would be Harshad Mehta. All of know, like everybody knows him. So he had said one good line actually, that don't be afraid to give up the good for the great. So it's like we are giving up this good currently, that social life. We have like zero social life, to be honest. So talking about me and Vinay, we both are like always together, either working or eating. That's it. Nothing other than a social life. So friends, family, everything gets affected. Family. So to be honest, like last year, Vinay's mom had this question whether he's in third year, fourth year, or graduated. So we are disconnected to this level of communication with the family, as well as with our friends also. So, but as Harshad said, so you need to do this to build something good, so that later on, like everybody knows, eventually after some years, like we are aiming for to make our company public or for unicorn. So once that happens, then there is like full-time social life, family and friends only. But these are the main crucial years where we can utilize our time to build a product, to focus on the company, to expand the business. So yes, I think this answers your question. Then yes, Vaishnavi, was your family supportive for focusing only on startup? If not, how did you convince them? Right. So good question actually. So like during the initial days, so I remember like in December or November, we were 20 to 25 days living in Bangalore only during the formation of Shubu. So at that time, we faced many challenges from our family also, because like from speaking about me, my family doesn't have any background of business or startup, and same with Vinay also. All have typical mindset of working 9 to 5 job, doing masters, working in US, and all of kind of stuff. But if you really have some passion, if you have some goals, if you have a really nice co-founder like Vinay, then it's nothing impossible to convince your family. There are tough times through which you need to go. Every one of us, like all the members from the core team, also are going through that phase. But eventually, we need to face and tackle the family problem also. But yes, overall, like looking backwards, the family was tremendous supportive during all these times. Like as I mentioned, we were not even in home for 10 to 12 days every month previous year, but during COVID also they supported, and yes, so the family was supportive. And if not, how did you convince them? So just as I said, that don't be afraid to give up the good for the great. So just kind of ignore them,
You tell
and
this
then
to your mom, and then we'll see how it goes.
better that we are having a meeting only. So yes, so if not, then you will and you can convince them. You just show them the bright side of this startup, this business culture, and then immediately they are definitely convinced, because at the end parents also think definitely think about good only. So you just need to convince that this is the great part of your life and you want to invest in building something, to working towards a company and in a build a good organization.
Agreed. And just one last thing, like if they are not convinced, keep metrics to prove them. Like, okay, now my business is revenue positive. This is how much we earned in the last month. This is how we are doing now for forever, for whatever, like for this particular deal to materialize. This is how good we'll be doing in the business. So have metrics, logically prove it to your parents, because they also have a valid point. They have invested a great amount of money in you, and now if you're wasting it on putting apples on a pen, and if you want to create a startup out of it, they have all the right to be angry on you. So if you are confident of your idea, be confident to have enough data to prove them that whatever you're doing is correct. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you, Anuj. We are glad to have you to give the insights of the numerous facets of entrepreneurship, the challenges being in the industry, and the multiple factors involved. I'm sure all the students must have enjoyed the session and must be motivated to plan and start a unique startup of their own in the near future too. You took out time from your busy schedule and guided the students. We were fortunate to have you as a speakers. Thank you so much. I would like to call upon Rucha Kulkarni, President, CSI Students Chapter, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Trupti. A warm and cherished afternoon to all our dignitaries, faculty, speakers, and all the participants. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked hard to make this event a success. Firstly, I would like to thank our Honorable Principal, Dr. Vijay Gohokar Sir, the HOD of Computer Department, Dr. Harmeet Khanuja Ma'am, the President of IIC MMCOE, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar Sir, Faculty Advisor of CSI Students Chapter MMCOE, Professor Asma Sheikh Ma'am, to believe in us and give us an opportunity to give rise to this amazing team. Your constant guidance and irrevocable support inspires us to move forward and face the challenges we have in front of us. Secondly, I would also like to thank our brilliant speakers for the day, Mr. Vinay Phadnis and Mr. Anuj Mokashi, for taking some time out of their very busy schedules to join us today. Your words of motivation threw light upon the complexities of budding startup and guided all the participants towards efficient solutions to motivate them to build the same. I would also like to express my gratitude towards all the participants of this session for being cooperative and joining us. I hope to see many familiar names in the events we carried out henceforth. Last but not the least, I would like to acknowledge the collaborative efforts of Team IIC and Team CSI, the consistent hard work towards the work we put together for the foundation of the event. I'm looking forward for planning and organizing several events, workshops, and webinars with this excellent team in future. Thank you. We are about to end the session. Please don't forget to fill the feedback form. The form link is there in the chat box. Your attendance would be recorded on the basis of the feedback entries. We'll be sending it by mail too. To know more about CSI MMCOE and to get updates about the upcoming events, follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn. Our Instagram and LinkedIn IDs would be there in the chat box too. Thank you for joining in. Have a great day.
Trupti, can we take one photo? We can say, we can start your camera, everybody, and we can take a photo.
Yes, sir. Just a second.
Okay. Whether we can stop the screen now or it will be okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it's fine, up to you.
Okay.
So if you want, I can close the screen recording, or
Okay,
else
I
we
think
can keep.
if we close, then we can say broader view photograph we can be taken. Right?
Sure, no problem.
Yes. So I request all the participants to start your camera so that we can take photo. ठीक है तो जितने भी हो yes yes so it may take some time for starting the camera, we can say, right? But anyway,
Yes, sir.
yes,
We are
yes,
done now.
yes. Good.
Thank you so much to all the participants and the speakers. Have a great day ahead.
Yes, thank you so much to
Okay.
everyone for bearing with us. So looking forward to it. And as Vinay has put in the chat box, so if you want to work with us, if you want to connect with us, feel free to go to our website and just type in any message or send your resume or apply through careers page. Anything is fine. Feel free to reach out to us.
It comes
Thank
to
you.
us only.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Anuj and Vinay, once again. Good.
Yes,
Good
thank you so much.
Good presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.